Hello, YouTube. I came on late. I was looking at surfboards, my obsession, and forgot the time. All right, so today we're going to talk about why does the universe allow us to suffer? More specifically, why are we born into situations? As you can see, I shaved. I wanted to get some air on my chin and see what I looked like, and I'm thinking I like the beard better. You let me know. I think I look older without it. My turkey neck is starting to show. Yep. Age is coming for me. Nothing I can do about it. So, why does the universe allow us to be born in horrible circumstances? You know, the reason why people ask me this question, I got to be honest with you. The reason why people ask me this question isn't because they care about the starving children in the world. And they really don't want to know why people are born into situations. What they really want to know is, why is my current situation so bad? Why do I feel so victimized and trapped in my current life situation? That's what they really want to ask. But they don't. I have a lot of videos about taking full responsibility. I have a lot of videos about reincarnation. And, you know, if you look at the questions that I ask on the title of this, why are we allowed to suffer in this life? Why does God, the universe, allow innocents to suffer? And then you read on in the description, you'll hear me say things like, you know, is there anything we can do? Is there any hope? And as I was writing this, it sounded like the perfect setup for a religion of salvation. Because the way you sell something to somebody is you first tell people how bad things are. I mean, if you watch any commercial on television or anything now on Facebook or whatever, the first thing they want to make you feel is that you're screwed, that you're a victim of circumstance. And did you know that X amount of people by the age of so-and-so have this problem? How can you fix it? Buy magic snake oil. And religion does the same thing. Why is there evil in the world? And, you know, why is there any hope? Is there anything you can do? And then they're going to say no. They're going to say no. There's nothing you can do. There's no hope because you were born in sin and you are a sinful person, and God, because he is perfect and righteous, he must destroy you. He must punish you. Not because he doesn't love you, but because he's perfect and he can't stand imperfection, and so therefore he has to kill you. But don't worry, because he loves you so much, he's decided to take his perfect son, who is also God for some reason we don't understand, and he's going to take your place. And he's going to take the place of every single person that's ever lived and is living and ever will live. And God will take out his wrath that he has on you because you're imperfect, because you were born in this imperfect world. Because of that, and because you continue to be imperfect, God is going to take all of that rage, that murderous rage, because he wants to put you in hell forever. He doesn't want to kill you. He wants to make you suffer for eternity. He wants to punish you eternally because of your sins. And so he's going to put somebody else in your place. That's how much he loves you. He's not going to forgive you. He's going to have somebody else stand in your place, and he's going to then take the blood of the son, his perfect son that he loves. He's going to take that blood that he has shed for you, and he's going to then wipe it all over you, so that when he looks at you, he only sees the blood of his innocent son, and that will calm his rage. But let's be clear, he never really forgives you Forgiveness means I accept you exactly as you are. You don't have to do anything. Let's just forget about it. No, there has to be a payment. Blood for blood. It's a very sort of gang member-y kind of thing. So I realized that as I was writing it, that's what it sounded like, that I was saying, that I was setting you up. And I bet you a lot of people are going to come on here expecting to have me tell them to accept Jesus and Jesus will forgive them. I'm not, not going to actually solve the problem. Why is there evil in the world? Why do people suffer? I'm just going to tell you, take this pill and it'll all be okay. By the way, that's why people love the Matrix. They love the idea of taking either the blue pill or the red pill. And I can't remember which one it is. Is it the blue pill that makes you go back into denial? But they love the idea of just taking a pill and then you're woke. You become conscious, you just take a pill and it's all over. That's what people want. You want me to give you a pill to make it all go away. I am here to tell you that the answer to the problem is very simple. It's extremely simple. It, however, is not necessarily very easy. It will take discipline, and it will take a lot of ability to look at yourself and be honest, and it will take, depending on who you are and what you've been through, it may take some time. So I don't want to lie to you. I swear to you, if I could snap my fingers and make it all go away, I would. I can't. More to the point, I guess I say I would, but the truth is I wouldn't. Because any teacher, including Jesus, who wants to take your suffering away doesn't care about you. Because you won't learn anything. Because the assumption is that the problems that you face have nothing to do with you. Even if we're talking about sin, if you're talking about Jesus and sin and Abrahamic religion, it's still, the assumption is still that you didn't do anything, you were just born into this screwed up system. And even though it was Adam and Eve that originally disobeyed God and sinned, you're infected by it, and you still have to pay the price for their decision. And not only that, but you don't even have any choice. You can't help yourself. You're going to sin, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, but you're still going to be held responsible for that which, of course, you had no responsibility over. It's a really messed up system. But it sets you up to need an instant fix. And this is why people seek enlightenment in the current understanding. I did a whole live stream last night about what enlightenment really was. And interestingly, there was a couple people who came on who had to tell me that I was wrong. I mean, they didn't say what I was wrong about. They just said that I didn't know what I was talking about. But I was pointing out that there's no such thing as it's all over. It's all finished. You're enlightened. That you get to escape. And I would say 99% of people who are looking for enlightenment are looking for an escape. They don't want to change. They want to be changed the same way Jesus saves you, fills you with the Holy Spirit, and changes you magically. Just because you said, please give me the blue pill or the red pill or whatever the hell it is. But they don't like hearing that nobody's done it to you. They really don't like it when I say that you are completely responsible for everything in your life. And then you look at this little girl, assuming that she's born into some really, horrific circumstance, she can't go get a job and pay her bills, and who's going to feed her? She's so cute. How could you not want to just, take her in your house and feed her and give her a good life? What happened to her? Why did she end up being hungry? Why was she born into situations or born to parents who, had to have, think about it. Look at how, whoever's doing that, look at how badly they're using her. They're using her cute little face to get them money for who knows what. Maybe they really do need money. Maybe they really are poor. Maybe they are in a real situation. And maybe they're just a couple of meth addicts and they need their next fix, and so they're going to put the little girl out and give her a sign to hold. Either way, it's a messed up scenario for the kid. If she's born to parents that can't take care of her, or if she's born to parents who can, but unfortunately are in a really horrible situation and they don't have access to be able to take care of her. It's a really sad little scenario for her. It's not her fault. Why did the universe allow her to do that? Now, why did I put this picture up? Because whenever somebody asks the question, in my case, for a Christian, they would say, why does God allow people to be in horrible situations? But in my case, they ask, why would this little girl choose to be born hungry and poor? And it's a cop-out. Because whenever somebody asks that question, what they're not doing is talking about themselves, because you're really talking about yourself. But you don't have the guts to come out and say, why was I born and why is my life now so, why am I so victimized now? Instead of having the guts to ask that question, you say, why is this little girl? What did she do? How could she possibly choose to have been born in that? But that's really not what you want to ask. You relate to her. You project yourself onto her. When you see her, you see yourself. And if you feel a love and a yearning and this sadness and this anger of the injustice of it all, and why do little children, and then people ask me even more than that, they'll say, why are people born in third world countries with no legs? Why would they choose to do that? And I say, are you a poor legless child in a third world country? Then why are you asking about somebody else? You wouldn't be asking that question if you yourself were happy. So let's be honest here. You ask this question because you're miserable. I'm not judging, but let's be honest. You ask the question because you're unhappy, because you feel victimized by your life. Let's just be honest. If you feel that life is victimized, you just own up to it. Don't act like you give a crap about people on the other side of the world that you don't know, that you haven't given any money to. You haven't put any effort into helping the poor, legless children in Bangladesh or, Africa or wherever the hell it is that you think is the worst place in the world. And, obviously you don't want to be born there. If you could sit here and tell me that you've committed your life to feeding the poor in third world countries, and then you want to ask the question, I won't say anything. But if you're living your life somewhere in suburbia or rural America or someplace like that, and you're overweight and you're watching television and you're poor and you're eating Cheetos and you drink and you smoke, and you want to complain to me about why in the world would anybody want to be born in a third world country, I'm going to call bullshit. Now, if you want to talk about yourself and say that you're miserable, that you're sad, that you feel trapped, then I will be a lot more kind in my response. I'll have a lot more desire to want to help you. So why? So first, you got to get honest with yourself. I've been here in Australia for over a year now. And it's taken me this long to finally be able to see where I am. Across the street from my house, there's a nature trail. And I'm surrounded by rainforest. And I cross the street and there's this nature trail that goes through the rainforest, and I get to, walk down these, stone steps down to this pristine, beautiful, semi-tropical beach. And so every day I try and walk down that path and walk along the beach at least, no matter how busy I am, at least once or twice a day. And the first time I got here, I have to be honest, I really didn't see or appreciate where I was. I mean, I knew intellectually that I was walking through a forest, but I downplayed it, and it was, I projected my own self, my self-doubt and my self-judgment onto where I was, and I didn't really think that it was all that great. And now that I've been here for a year, I'm realizing, wow, this is really, really beautiful, amazing, naturey, beautiful, hardcore. I mean, it's fantasy land. It's, there's no more beautiful coastline anywhere in the world. Might be some as beautiful, but there's none more beautiful. And that's because I was projecting my own self, my self-directed negativity onto my existing circumstances. People come onto the channel. Somebody came on a few live streams ago and was talking about how boring and miserable their life was. And if I remember correctly, if I heard them correctly, they were basically saying that that video games were where they wanted to live. That if somebody can imagine video games and the beautiful 3D of video games, then that's where they're going to go. They're going to go create that and go live that. And I thought to myself, do you even know where the hell you live? Do you have any idea? Maybe you live in the middle of a city. Well, there's something you can do about that. So the answer to the question is, why? Why are we allowed to suffer in this life? There's two questions that have to be asked. One is the things that are out of your control. Now, in terms of your physical human life, the context of your life from conception to the end of your life, there are some things that in that context you don't have there's no evidence that you have any control over. You don't have any control over where you're born. Where you're born, what race you are, what country you're born in, your genetics, are you born with no legs? There's no evidence that you have any control over those kinds of things. But what about after that? Now, I make the argument that there's no... Okay, let me back up a second. My whole point in doing this is to give you practical tools to have the most amazing life you could possibly imagine. That's all I'm here to do. I want to give you practical tools. One of them is, I don't care whether anything I say is true or not. In other words, if I start talking about reincarnation, if I start talking about soul desire, if I start talking about these kinds of things, I don't care if they're true or not. I only care if that belief and the actions that I take on that belief, I only care if those practically make my life better. It's all I care about. And I test it. Before I teach it, I always test it. So if I talk to you about, finding out what your soul desire is and taking action on your soul desire and taking full responsibility, for me, I think that the best way to live is to take full responsibility for your birth situation. So I believe that believing in reincarnation makes your life better because it gives you an opportunity to take full responsibility, as opposed to the Christian tradition, which tells you that you don't have any responsibility and you'll be held responsible, but you have no control over anything. And that your only value is in if you're doing what God wants you to do. And so people want to know, what is God's will for me? And it's okay with them if God wants you to be the worst possible, most miserable human on the planet. That's why people ask me ridiculous questions like, is it possible that my soul desire is to be bored and miserable? That what they're really saying is it God's will that I'm miserable? Because if it is, just tell me and I'll just accept it and be miserable for the rest of my life. I won't try and change it. So what people really want is they want to be given the excuse not to change their life. But if I tell you that it works better if you take full responsibility, even for your birth situation, because you will have a better life. Because if you take full responsibility, then you're going to realize it's a waste of time to feel sorry for yourself. Number one, feeling sorry for yourself doesn't change anything. It's not going to change the circumstances you were born into. Doesn't mean you can't be sad about it. That's different. Being sad and disappointed that you didn't, that you weren't born in other circumstances. It's okay to have those feelings. But to indulge in feeling sorry for yourself, which means being angry and moping and being angry at the universe, doesn't accomplish anything. But if you take full responsibility, then that automatically presupposes that since you chose to put yourself here, it means that there are choices you can make to improve your life. And the reason why I believe in reincarnation and taking full responsibility is because in my life, when I have done that and taken action based on those beliefs, my life gets better. It doesn't necessarily make me feel better in the moment, and it doesn't necessarily take away a lot of serious work, because that's the case for me. I've had to work really hard. And sometimes I have to give myself a break because I don't think I work hard enough in my life. But then I take stock and I go, am I healthy? Yeah, I'm healthier than most people, half my age. Am I successful? Yeah, I'm living in a 3-bedroom, 2.5-story house across the street from the most beautiful beach I've ever seen in my life. And I get to work my own hours and I get to do whatever the hell I want. I'm doing pretty good. So I must have done something right to get where I'm at. So whenever I start beating myself up, I go, let's take an honest look. Yep, I've got good things in my life. I must have done something right. If I don't, then I take stock of that. If I have health issues, I sit down and ask myself, what am I not doing to fulfill myself and make myself happy? I take a look at, are there things in my life that I'm allowing to keep in my life? Are there things that I'm continuing to invest in my life that don't give me satisfaction and happiness? Am I doing things to assuage guilt? Am I doing things out of shame? Am I doing things out of a desire to make other people happy or to get other people's approval or to fit in or to avoid feeling guilty? All of those things will create illness within me. So whenever I have physical pain, I stop and I go, what am I not doing towards my happiness and my success? And that all started because I took full responsibility. So the answer to the question is, why are we allowed to suffer in this life? Now that's different from why are we born into difficult circumstances, but why are we allowed to suffer in this life? The answer to that is because you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want. And if you want to invest in things that bring you misery, you can do that, even if you think you're doing it for the right reasons. So I want you to do something blasphemous. I want you to, here we go, you ready? I want you to hear what I'm about to say. You're not going to like it. I want you to kill God. I mean, I felt so blasphemous as I said that. And I'm going to use somebody that I don't believe in to back me up. One of the only 2 or 3 verses in the whole Bible that I think have value is one of Jesus' quotes, which is when he was traveling through some village and some man came running out of his house and he got in front of Jesus and he said, "Teacher, I want to follow you. Just let me bury my parents first, and I'll follow you. And Jesus said, let the dead bury themselves. If you're not ready to follow me now, you're not worthy of me. And the man, it says the man went away, with a heavy heart. In other words, he wasn't ready to not bury his parents. Now that sounds like it's not a big deal, but in Jewish culture, you have to bury your parents within, I think, like 24 or 48 hours after their death. You have to do it. If you don't do it, it's like the biggest sin, not only culturally but spiritually. And so Jesus was this, Jewish teacher, and for him to say that was like the most, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal to us, but to say that in that time period, because they didn't have morgues where you could go and embalm the body. I mean, the bodies rotted and get really fast. So you had to bury them really quick. So he was saying, let your parents' bodies rot and follow me. And if you're not prepared to do that, you're not worthy of me. And the reason why I like that is because psychologically, what he's saying is, if you want to find out your truest essence, you have to be willing to separate from your emotional and psychological attachment to your parents, to your society, to your religion, to everything that you believe is important. You must be willing to drop all of it. You must completely disconnect from your parents to such a degree that you don't care whether their lifeless bodies rot in the sun for everybody to see, and that everybody will walk by your house and know that you didn't bury your parents like a good Jewish person is supposed to do. You're the worst person in society. Said you have to be willing to have people not love you and not accept you. And you have to be willing to let go of whatever pride or ego you have about being a good person. You have to get rid of any willingness to have other people love you and accept you. You have to only have one thing in your mind, which is to follow your highest, truest essence of your soul, which is what Jesus represents in that context. So that's one of the only verses in the Bible that I completely agree with. If you're not willing to do that, then why do you suffer? Because you're free to do whatever you want. If you want to live your life trying to make your parents happy, trying to make God happy, that's why I purposely said, I want you to kill God. What is God to you? For some people, God is being a nice person. They always have to be a nice person all the time. They always have to make sure that everybody knows that they're nice, that they're loving. People talk about being caring and loving and caretaker. On my other channel, there's somebody who got involved with some really, really sick person, and they were complaining about it and saying that the reason why they justified it was because I'm a caretaker. That's not what a caretaker does. A caretaker does not fill in the blanks for somebody else's unwillingness to take care of themselves. A caretaker does not take the responsibility of taking up the slack and making somebody else happy who is incapable or unwilling to do the work for themselves. That's somebody who wants to look good, or somebody who feels so unlovable that they have to placate other people and take care of other people's needs in the hopes that they will get love back. It's very selfish. Somebody who's truly loving has the ability to let somebody be miserable and blame them for it, if that's what's best for them. Truly loving person doesn't care whether or not you like them. It's one of the reasons I think that I'm not as popular as I could be, because I don't placate it. I can't placate it for you. I can't tell you anything that I don't believe to be true. And I'm totally okay with you not, I'm not totally okay. The truth is I want everybody to love me. My feelings get hurt every time somebody says something mean to me, or accuses me of something, or criticizes me. So I mean, I'm human in that way. Every time it still hurts my feelings, but it doesn't hurt my feelings enough to make me want to tell you whatever it is that you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think is most helpful for you, and it's okay with me if you don't like it, because I honestly do care for you. That's why I'm so harsh with so many people, because I have a limited amount of time, and in that limited amount of time, I can't placate you. If I have an hour with you or longer, I might, meet you at your level of denial and sort of work slowly to help you get, I can be a different person, but on here I only have a few minutes, and I only have an opportunity to tell you what I think is true. So, to answer the question, why are we allowed to suffer in this life? Because you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want. And if you choose to not invest in doing the work to kill God, to kill, not literally, but psychologically kill the Buddha, kill your parents. They said, Buddhists say, if you ever see Buddha on the side of the road, kill him. Because if you were to see the Buddha in whatever you think it is, you would project onto him that he's this perfect person, and instead of taking his example of finding the middle path, you would just worship him and you wouldn't grow. So they say, if you see him, you better kill him, because he'll ruin your ability to become self-aware. In order to be happy, you've got to individuate from your parents. Psychologically, it's called individuation. You have to be able to let people have their own feelings, their own desires, their own agendas on you, and let them have that and love them. Just let them feel whatever they're feeling. They love you, they hate you, they want you to be this, they want you to be that. You love yourself, and you say, I know this is what I want for myself. They want me to be this, and that's okay. I'm not going to do what they want. But I'm not angry with them, because they have every right to want whatever the hell they want. They have every right to have whatever agendas. Their agendas only affect me to the extent that I give them power. But once I turn, a teenager or 18, then I only am, I'm only forced to do what other people want to the extent that I let them control me. And it's a lifelong lesson. Why does the universe allow innocence to suffer? There's an assumption in that question. The assumption in that question is that the innocent people had no responsibility in creating the life that they were born into. If you believe that, which is understandable, I mean, when you look at it from your, face value, how could anybody be responsible for what happens to them the moment that they're conceived? But if you believe that they have no power over having been born, and that they have no power once they are born to change anything, then that's a good question. Why does the universe allow it? That assumes that the universe is responsible, that the universe created you. That's an assumption. It's an understandable assumption, but it's an assumption. What if the universe didn't create you? What if you created the universe and then chose to incarnate into it? Then the question is very different, which is, why do you allow yourself to suffer? Why? Well, we can't do anything in this body about the circumstances we were born into. Can't do anything about that. Except take responsibility and make the decision that, I've chosen whatever limitations I was born into. Now I can stop feeling sorry for myself about it. And then you ask the question, since I created this life, since I created the situation surrounding my life circumstances, I have control over what I choose to do from here on out. So I can choose to make my life better. Now the only question is, how much power do I have? That is probably the only real question there is, and that is a really good question. How much power do you have to change your life circumstances? That question has a lot more power if you choose to accept the assumption I'm giving you, which is you are infinite in your soul and you chose to create all of your limitations, and you chose your life so that you would learn how to make your life better. But you have to come to that. Actually, the truth is you don't have to believe it. You just have to act on it as though you believe it. A good thing to do is, like, if, let's say, you're unsuccessful with money. Let's say you want to be a salesman, but you don't think that you're any good at sales. So what you do then is you start to ask yourself, okay, what would a successful, confident salesperson do? And then start doing what they do. Forget about how you feel. Just start doing what they do and see what happens. I'm trying to think of all kinds of things in my life. I'm practicing everything I talk about. By the way, the only reason that I'm making this video, I'm talking to myself. I'm teaching myself something that I need to learn. If you want to listen in while I teach myself how to take more control and make my life better, then you're welcome to listen in. And I can tell you that if I've done something and it works and I teach it over and over again, it's because it's worked for me. And so far, every single person who has followed all of my instructions to the letter and done it consistently, regardless of how they feel, their life always gets better. But there's always that danger that you give up, and it's like being on a treadmill. If you start walking, the treadmill will, throw you off of the treadmill. You got to keep walking. You got to keep going. If you follow all of my instructions and do everything that I recommend and keep doing it on a daily basis, regardless of how you feel, your life will get better. That's what I've seen. And it's been true in my life too. And I have to keep doing it. I'm tempted to talk about some really trivial things in my life that I'm trying to improve on, but they're really quite trivial. They're really not worth the time. That's, the worst thing in my life is I got some trivial things that I want to change. Life can't be that bad. All right, so the way this works is this is a question and answer. Yes, as I said, if you're coming on late, I did shave. I wanted to get some fresh air on my beard. I wanted to see how I looked without. I've had the beard on for a couple of years now. I'm not convinced that I like it this way, but we'll see. This is a question and answer. If you have any questions, go ahead and write me a question. You ask a question by writing the word question in all caps and then writing your question with a full sentence with proper grammar and punctuation so I understand what you're saying. And I'll be happy to answer it. However, since there's no questions, then what I have to do is I have to then have somebody come and talk to you and try and sell you stuff, because that's how this works. Let's see. Do I have take my money? I don't think I have it here. Yeah, I do. All right. So I'll be right back. Whoops, what happened? Why didn't that go through? Why didn't I see that? Oh, because it's not connected anymore. That's why. Let's try this one. Nope. That's not it either. All right, I guess we'll have to go to an older thing while I go. I'm actually going to go get my lip stuff while you guys think of your questions. Hey there, this is Arnold. I have a very important announcement. I command you to listen to me. This is Arnold Swears He's Bigger, and I'm here to tell you something very important. you must go to thunderwizard.com YouTube channel, subscribe and hit the bell button. I command you to do this. It's the most important thing you're ever going to do in your life. If you don't listen to me now and hear me later and go and subscribe, I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to shame you in front of your whole family. I'm going to go to your school and I'm going to chastise you in front of your friends. I'm going to go to your church. I'm going to stand in front of the whole congregation and I'm going to tell people how stupid you are for not going and subscribing to this channel. I tell you now, it's the most important thing you're ever going to do. You have to go and subscribe right now, otherwise my head is going to explode. Do it now, I command you. Wow, look at that. Caught me coming out of the bathroom. All right, so what else is there to talk about? Has there been any questions yet? Let me get this up here. Before we do that, let me tell you what this is all about. 90-day challenge. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I've been finding and working on ways to get people to get to that state that I believe that I've come to, which is learning how to intend your reality simply by deciding what you want. That, if that's not something you're able to do because you don't like the circumstances in your life, then my assumption is that there is some karmic blocks that come from the continued choices that you've made since birth. So the things you don't have any control over are the things that you're born with. You know, the parents that you're born to, you know, your racial, economic, your genetics, you're born with one leg, you know, something like that. Those are things you don't have any control over now. You might be able to fix some of those things, but some things, there are just some things you won't be able to change. But the other question is, what about everything else in your life? Everything else in your life you can change. Everything. And your life will be the result of your continued choices and actions. Your choices and actions will be determined by what degree you have chosen to accept the conditioning that has been given to you by your parents, your society, and your karmic background. And you would be surprised how much of the things in your life, including everything from health to happiness, relationships, everything is based on the actions that you've taken. And the actions that you've taken, 98% of those actions will be determined by things that you are not aware of, but that you have continued to invest in. And so to have a complete shift of thinking is very likely going to take some monumental effort and work and discipline. You'll have to keep making decisions on a daily basis to be able to have the ability to change the actions that you take. If you just simply float along in the stream of life, then you will continue to keep taking actions based on your karmic conditioning and your childhood conditioning, and you will continue to reinforce that, because that's how we're designed. We're designed to reinforce what we've been programmed to do. And so if you want to escape the matrix, you're going to have to make the decision to start taking different actions and investing in different results, which means that you will come up against your limitations of what you think, and you will have to be willing to get rid of all of those things. That's what this is about. Instead of me talking about it, there's sometimes you have to do some work. So in this 90-day challenge at thunderwizard.com, I take you through a daily practice, and I'm going to take you through a 90-day practice. I'm going to teach you a morning practice, which will align you to your soul. And you get to do it with me. You just press play and you do it with me. I'm not talking about it, I'm doing it. And then I give you a midday practice, which is to come back and reset yourself and become aware of any glitches in your programming that you want to get rid of. And I give you meditations and stuff like that. And then I'm going to teach you a nighttime practice. And I talk to you about how to integrate all of this. And I guarantee you, if you just do this, if you just simply press play and do it with me every day, I guarantee you something will change. I don't know exactly what, but you will change. No two ways about it. And before I forget, the thunderwizard.com is the subscription site. And you can subscribe. You don't have to subscribe at the 90-day challenge if you don't want. You can subscribe at whatever level you want. And you have the option to now go for a year. And if you subscribe for a year, you get 2 months off. So I give you 2 months for free. I don't know what that is, 16% or something like that. So this is where my plan is to switch everything over there. So that means all of the stuff that you buy offline for all of the video courses and all of that, I'm going to eventually bring all of those over to the Patreon channel. So all you have to do is subscribe, and you can watch whatever videos you have. As long as you're subscribed, you can watch, I don't even know how many hundreds and hundreds of hours of video trainings there are on there, but you get to watch that. And then I get to keep doing this because you are supporting me in doing this. So I can keep making these videos every day, doing these question and answers. All right, now let's see if there's any questions that have popped up. If you're new to the channel, what I prefer is not cute little comments. I prefer a question, an honest question, because I have to scroll through things that aren't questions. Fim Sampi CG question: are you vegan or vegetarian? Just curious. How does that information help you? Instead of asking me about my life, one of the other things that I require is that people share from themselves. So I would much rather want to know what you are and why you're asking the question. Asking me what cologne I wear or what kind of car I drive or whatever is really kind of meaningless. You're not asking that just because you're curious. You're asking because vegan and vegetarianism is an important question to you. The reason the question is why. And I can't help you unless you tell me why. So I'm not going to just give you random facts about myself. I want to know why you want to know. And if you ask me the question in a vulnerable way and make yourself available to all of us so that we know what your emotional agendas are, I will be happy to answer, and I'll be happy to answer in a way that I think will be helpful for you. Ashley Hughes, are you really a fraud? What does that mean? What do you mean? How did I betray your trust? Again, guys, look, this is an opportunity for you to communicate with me. That is not a conscious way of communication. What did I say that made you think that? Why don't you think about it, have the respect for the question you want to. If you're just being a pain in the ass, I'll block you. If you're just being passive aggressive or sarcastic, I'll block you. But if you have an honest question about something I've said, ask me. Come on, guys, this is for you. Let me tell you something about the way the world works, the way the universe works, the matrix. The matrix is a giant question answering machine. The universe will teach you anything you want to know. You want to know how to master time and space? You want to know how to master the 5 elements? You want to know how to be eternally youthful? You want to know how to achieve enlightenment? You want to know how to be the most loving person? You want to know how to be the greatest lover in the world? Whatever your question that you want, the universe has an answer for you, but only if you ask honestly. I'm a teacher, so even though I'm a human being like you, I represent how the universe wants to teach you. If you don't ask me an honest question from your true emotional state, if you're passive aggressive, if you're cynical, if you're sarcastic, guess what? I'm going to be angry and defensive, and I'm going to want to shake my finger at you, and I'm going to say, I don't want to answer that question, I'm going to want to block you. The universe is no different. If you want to know something, you have to go to the universe and say, can you please tell me about this? But if you go to the universe and you say, well, why the heck did Ben know that? If you do that, the universe is going to go, I don't know what the hell your problem is. And it's not going to interact with you. The ancestors, there are beings that are millions, billions of years old that have knowledge and awareness who are just waiting for people to ask them honest questions. And if you ask the questions with the belief that you will get an answer, they will answer you. They may not answer you right now or in the way that you think, but you will get an answer. But if you are passive aggressive, because if you're passive aggressive, it means you don't feel worthy to ask the question. That's why you ask these kinds of half-assed. That's why everybody does that. I'm a human, I know, we all do it. I'm just telling you what I've learned. So if you have a question, ask me. Have the balls to ask me, and I'll answer it. But you have to learn how to be generous with yourself. Here are my thoughts and my feelings, and here's why I'm asking this question. Mahadeva, what do you think about this? Can you answer that? Come on, have some balls. The universe responds to people who are fearless. So be fearless with your questions and I'll answer you. Let's see, what else? Yeah, so Kunga Dorje question, how do you handle debilitating fear if you've had that problem before? Well, have you asked this question before? I think people keep asking me the same questions. I don't know if you've asked me that question before. Who said you had to handle it? Who says that I handle my debilitating fear? There's nothing that says that you have to have perfect feelings. The only thing that you have to do is take action. That's it. You know, if somebody's prepared to go into battle and they know that there is a good chance they might be killed, they don't say to their general, hey, so how do I get over this fear of being stabbed by that guy over there with a sword? Because I don't want to feel that. I mean, I'm willing to go into battle and all, but I just don't want to be afraid. He's going to say, pick up your sword and go stab that guy or I'll kill you myself. So, Kunga Dorje, there is nothing in the universe that says that you have to handle your debilitating fear. Have it. Feel it. And then take action towards your success. Taking action is not predicated on your feelings. Did I answer your question? I don't know, Ashley Hughes, I don't know what video you're talking about, and I don't remember what I said. You saw a video where I called myself a fraud. I don't remember what the context was. Come on, put yourself in my position. Do you think that I remember every single video and every single phrase I said in 2 or 3 hour videos that are 2 or 3 hours long? Come on, put some more effort into this. The 2 most important things in life, pay attention and put effort. I know I've said things similar to that, but I want you to be able to not react, because you're asking questions like somebody who's, you said, I mean, sit down and intelligently ask the question. I don't remember what I said, but everybody's a fraud. How about that? You're a fraud too. On some level, everybody is a fraud. On some level, everybody is acting as if. So I don't remember what I meant or what the video was. You'll have to refresh my memory in order. I want to answer your question. I just don't remember what I said or when I said it or how I said it. So you're talking about being, all right, so I was talking about being a serpent. I wasn't talking about being a serpent. I was talking about being a reptilian. I was making those videos because I was getting a lot of people who were, there's two reasons I made that video. It's a parody. So what I was doing is since there were so many people out there looking for reptilians and blah, 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 and how do I was trying to make the point that everybody's a reptilian. You have a reptilian brainstem. And the question is whether or not you're going to use that reptilian nature to break the right taboos, break the right rules in order to learn the mysteries of the universe. So, Ashley, go watch it again and listen. Listen, because at some point in those videos, I will reveal what it is I'm trying to accomplish. But I'm basically pushing people's buttons. I'm trying to get them to look at themselves. I obviously pushed a button in you because you're looking at it very superficially. You heard me say the word fraud, or you heard me say I was a reptilian, or you heard me say that I was out to deceive people, or something like that, and you responded to that so strongly that you can't even think, you didn't go, I wonder why he said that. You're thinking, oh my God, he's a fraud. I believed in him. So you have to go a little bit deeper. Be willing to think more deeply. Go into the feelings that I've pushed in you that made you uncomfortable and really sit with those feelings. And watch those videos again. Don't just look at things superficially. I'm not going to do that anymore. Those were a series of videos that I was trying some different things, and I've decided not to do that anymore. So I won't be making those kinds of videos again. I don't think. What is my job title? Why are you asking? Are you listening to everything I'm saying? I'm asking people, if you're going to ask a question, you have to reveal something about yourself. Why do you want to know? Why the fuck do you care what my job title is? Why do you care? Nubian? I never said I was Nubian. Where are you people getting this crap from? Nubian, and I mean from Nubia? I've never said I was a Nubian. What are you talking about? You've watched all of them. Are you the same person that's asking? Ashley Hughes is asking about why I'm calling myself a fraud. Edward Blake is asking, how do I file my taxes? Dude, don't waste my time with nonsense. This is nonsense. I'm here to teach about spirituality. I file my taxes like everybody else. I mean, what the fuck is that question even about? I mean, is there anything in the title of my video or my channel that says, hey, let me help you with your taxes and how to put your job? I mean, seriously, are you that so wrapped up in yourself that you can't be a part of the discussion that we're having? I'm sorry, but you got to just not at all interested in that kind of nonsense. Okay, Jam. This is the guy who asked. Is this the guy who asked earlier? No. So Jam, if you have a question, write the word question. Pay attention. I've said it before. Write the word question and then write a question, a full question so I understand it. I'm a meat eater and want to know, but will it get in the way of me becoming spiritually enlightened? Okay, so does that mean you've asked me a question earlier? Trying to find what you see. And you have to, put the question that you asked. How do you know I'm going to remember what your question was? Somebody else asked if I was a vegan or vegetarian. That was somebody else. I'm a meat eater and I want to know what? You want to know if I'm a vegan or a vegetarian, or what? But will it get in the way of me becoming spiritually enlightened? Let me answer this. What difference does it make what I think? What do you think? Are you a meat eater because that's your choice? Or are you a meat eater because you can't help yourself? Are you a meat eater because that's healthy for you? Are you thinking about veganism and vegetarianism because you want to be healthy? But let me ask you this. It's obvious that somebody has told you that eating meat will get in the way of you becoming enlightened. So to me, that sounds like a way of placating other people. And what does their opinion have to do with your enlightenment? I haven't answered your question yet because I want, somebody has told you that being a meat eater is bad for your enlightenment. And then you're asking me. So now I'm going to come along and maybe I'll say something different. And then all you have is other people's opinions. What difference does that make? You have to figure out for yourself. So I don't want to answer that for you. Not for that reason. If you were to ask me for other reasons, like practical reasons, like what I thought about the health of it, that would be a different question. But I'd have to think that you were honestly asking me for that reason. Doesn't sound like you're worried about your health. So then this is all about making other people happy, because you will feel that you're enlightened if other people say you are. Enlightenment is only one. I've said it before. Let me give you my definition of enlightenment, which pissed off a bunch of people last night. My definition of enlightenment is this. It's not being free of bad feelings. It is not freedom from reincarnation. Let me say something. You can be fully enlightened and still have hundreds of lives to go. So if you think being enlightened means, not that I don't know what you think, but anybody out there thinks that if you think being enlightened means that you won't have to be reincarnated, then you don't understand what enlightenment is. Enlightenment means being fully conscious of all of your thoughts, feelings, and impulses, and embracing all of your thoughts, feelings, and impulses, and having the awareness to know what actions to take that will be beneficial for you and everyone else. Has nothing to do with feeling a certain way or thinking a certain way or avoiding life incarnations. Let me be clear about being incarnated, because enlightenment, not that you've asked it, but enlightenment is oftentimes associated with reincarnation. And people make the assumption that enlightenment means no more reincarnation. I'm going to tell you that that's not the case. What if you could be enlightened in every single incarnation that you have? What if you could be enlightened and happy and prosperous and successful in hundreds of incarnations? And each one of those incarnations was just the best fucking life you've ever had. That's enlightenment. Anybody who says, I'm never coming back, I hate this place, is guaranteed to come back. Somebody who says, yeah, I had a lot of fun in this life and I really enjoyed it and I can't wait to come back. That is the person who is more likely to not come back, because they'll finally go, yeah, I did everything I wanted to do. Everything. And I can't think of one other thing I could possibly do. What's the next? Is there a level beyond this earth? And then you go to wherever that next level is. I'm trying to help you guys have what I want for myself. As I said, I'm making this video to teach myself. I'm telling myself all of this. I want this life to be so amazingly satisfying and fulfilling that when I'm done, I want to look back on it and go, man, I lived the fuck out of that life. I can't think of one other thing. Oh, there was that one thing. I should have done that. Okay, next time I'll do that. But I'd really like to be able to go, yeah, I can't think of anything else that I would do. I did it all. I did everything I wanted to do. That to me is enlightenment. And whether that means eating meat or not eating meat, that's a decision that I make based on what is going to help me have the best life I can possibly have. You know, the question that, no, I won't get into that right now. Okay, Ashley Hughes, you don't need to apologize. I'm not angry with you. I'm not trying to judge you. But yeah, you need to watch it more. You need to watch more, more than, when those kinds of things, when I make those kinds of videos, it means you really need to listen more deeply. And it's okay if your buttons get pushed. And it's okay to ask that question. But yeah, watch them again. Sabrina Smith. Nope, that's not a question. All right, so I don't see any more questions. So that's the answer to the question, why are we allowed to suffer in this life? Because you're the one that makes the decisions. There are some karmic things you can't avoid. But let me be clear about what karma is. So let's talk about, so let's break it up into three things. First, the life that you're born in that you don't have any control over once you're conceived in the womb. So the genetics, the parents that you're born into, the racial backgrounds, all that stuff, you don't have any control over some of those things or most of those things once you're conceived. Then there is the rest of your life, which you are responsible for from that moment on. From the moment that you're born, you are responsible about how you interact with how you're being trained by your parents. And that's a tough one. I don't know how many lifetimes it takes people to, I can remember being 4 years old. One of my first memories, and I was sitting there, and it was a birthday. And it sort of felt like I was waking up in a dream or something. But I remember being 4 years old, and it was my birthday, and there was a cake, and there were these people. There was my mother and my father and my sister and my brother, and they were all looking at me, and they were pushing a cake in front of me, telling me to blow out the candles. And I had this feeling of, I have no idea who these people are. Who the hell are these people? And I think to have that experience at 4 years old, I think that's a sign. That was a sign of, I must have chosen some people that I didn't really know, souls I wasn't too too well acquainted with, because I still feel like that. I still feel like, who the hell were those people? So I think that means that there must have been some awareness that I had going into it, because my brother and my sister didn't survive. I mean, they're alive, but they didn't survive, the hell of that family. And I'm the only one of my family that has come out, and has survived and overcome being in that family. So there's some things you bring with you from past lives that you may not have any control over. And so there are going to be things that come up in your life that you won't be able to avoid. There's going to be some challenges that you won't be able to avoid, but it's not being done to you. It's because of something that you avoided in a previous life. So in every moment of your life, you have an opportunity to operate from your highest, or I should say your truest self, or you can operate from your programming, what you've been programmed, how you've been programmed to respond. When you choose to react out of your programming in order to fit in, be loved, be accepted, whenever you deny your true essence in exchange for being accepted by some aspect of the world, that creates a karma. That's a karma that you have to pay off in this life through becoming aware. Oh my God, I can't believe I've been living my life trying to please my dead mother this whole time. Wow, I don't have to be this and this. I can have my own life. You've burned through a karma. But if you don't ever make the choice to overcome that, then that piles up, and in the next life, You make a choice because you go, yep, I didn't do that. I was supposed to learn how to individuate from my mother, and I didn't do that. I wanted to do that, and I didn't do that. And so I'm going to have to make that challenge a little stronger so that next time I won't make that mistake again. And to the extent that you are taking responsibility for your life, you'll look at that and change. To the extent that you assume that life is doing it to you, then you will be clouded in the karma, and you will then force yourself to continue to do the same mistake over and over again, which will create more karma. So karma doesn't create lifetimes. Karma creates the challenges in your lifetimes. So if you want to be free of unnecessary drama and challenge in your life, you can start by cleaning up the next life right now by choosing to fearlessly live from your truest essence, even if that means that everybody will hate you for it. And you may have a lot of feelings about it. Let's see what else. All right, no more questions. That's it. All right, that's it for me. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go eat some food. And again, please go check out the 90-day challenge, thunderwizard.com. That is the subscription site, and that is what keeps me doing this. So, and again, if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe for a year, and I'll give you 2 months off. I'll give you 2 months for free. All right? There you go. Talk to you guys soon.